Hi everyone, my name is Paula and I have lived with type 1 diabetes for 24 years. I was diagnosed in Costa Rica, which is an amazing country in Central America, and now I'm living in the UK. Type 1 diabetes is perceived sometimes as a condition that just happens in children and adolescents and not necessarily in adults, which is wrong. And also having technology whilst you live with diabetes sometimes is perceived as something expensive or hard to access, mainly in countries of Latin America. Some of the challenges that we face in Latin America and countries like Costa Rica is the lack of access to technology, because it may be something that might be very expensive, and also we don't have the big range of companies and options that you can access here in the UK. The difference is that in Costa Rica, you need to self-fund your diabetes technology. Certainly, there's a lot of efforts around, mainly in the children's hospital, to fund the devices such as insulin pumps for children, but this is not the case in adults. I think I can say a lot of positives of both countries. There's a lot of efforts from advocates, from healthcare professionals, and from diabetes charities that have achieved amazing stuff in terms of access to technology, but there's still a lot of work to do. It should be the same type of access. It doesn't matter where you live or how much money you have.
There's lots of people that might be a little bit unaware of what technology's out there, or a little bit apprehensive of, being on an insulin pump or taking a sensor or, looping or whatever it might be. And then there's people that are really, really keen to be on those technologies. And then you have Ireland, who has very long waiting lists for insulin pumps, or very strict criteria for CGMs or any sort of sensors, with a lot of sensors and technologies being offered to young children and not necessarily to adult care. So depending on when you're diagnosed, you may have a better chance of getting technology. And people who would really benefit from insulin pump therapy waiting 3 or 4 years on a waiting list before they can access it, or going down a private route. So there's a lot of different things that I think are at play in Ireland around diabetes care and technology, and how it's perceived. And I think lots of things come down to a lack of awareness and education. And then I suppose listening to the person with diabetes on what technology may benefit their care, as opposed to just having blanket strict criteria based off of, kind of textbooks ideas of what type 1 diabetes may or may not be. I think, the access to technology is probably the biggest issue that lots of people face. I mean, when I started on an insulin pump, I only started by chance that the endocrinologist I had happened to have 3 pumps in her office, and I plagued her for 6 months that I could have one. And a lot of that is what you have to do for technology. It is advocating for yourself. It is constantly going back to your clinic appointment and saying, no, I need an insulin pump. No, I need a sensor for these reasons. And kind of when you live outside of the criteria that they have set, it can often be very difficult to have those conversations, every 3 months, every 6 months, every year with your diabetes team. So I think that access and I suppose following on from that, an understanding or an awareness from the clinicians that you who lives with type 1 diabetes every day has a better understanding and a better handle about what could potentially improve your diabetes management, more than what the textbook says to the doctor, or what they read from your blood work that comes in. And I think if we shift that power dynamic more into the side of the patient with or the person with diabetes, we'll see a lot of these problems with access to technology slowly dissipate. It won't be gone overnight, but if we change how we frame who should have access to technology, that everyone should have access to technology if they feel it will benefit their management or their care, then I think we'll overcome a lot of challenges we have, not only with access to technology, but also with self-management, with A1C levels, with complication levels, all those things that clinicians like to talk about a lot. I think we would see a lot of those dramatically increase over the next 10 years with access to technology. There's a movement in Ireland, I suppose, to provide more access to technology on the basis that, clinicians are seeing the data of people using insulin pumps or CGMs or looping, and seeing its effect on either A1C or on self-management or coming to clinic. So they're seeing the positives of providing access to these care, that there's a movement to try and, I suppose, encourage more people. I suppose there's obviously going to be things with waiting lists and access to, like, physical access to it, that will always be an issue. But, once we have clinicians on board and moving away from this idea of only certain people should be eligible for technology, we're seeing a huge surge in certain clinicians, really seeing the benefit for people with diabetes. So seeing the benefit for the person living with the diabetes as opposed to the benefit on, the overall numbers of HbA1cs in their clinic, which I think we're moving more towards this individualized version of care.
Hi everyone, my name is Olena I'm from Ukraine. Now I am 24 years old and I have been living with type 1 diabetes for 5 years already. Okay, if to speak about diabetes technologies and their perceivance in Ukraine, I can say that they are perceived quite differently among the youngsters and among the senior people, because young people have more access to information resources, to internet, and they are able to acquire information about the recent developments in diabetes technologies regarding some new research or something like that. And senior people tend to refer to more old-fashioned means of controlling their diabetes situation. So now it is quite a significant issue in Ukraine. Regarding the challenges of diabetes technologies in Ukraine, I should say that the first and foremost issue for us is that no continuous glucose level monitoring system is officially registered in Ukraine, particularly the Freestyle Libra. So the only way to get it is only by yourself, and of course it cannot be refunded by the government. So it's quite a problem because it is a very expensive device. Of course, there are some positive developments related to the advancement of diabetes technologies in Ukraine, because more and more people tend to raise their level of, let's say, self-consciousness, and they try to control their diabetes and their glucose level more thoroughly with the reference to some up-to-date technologies. For instance, the Libra and other glucose monitoring systems, they try to control their blood sugar level more often. And of course, such modern systems as Omnipod are also present in Ukraine and became more and more widespread. People see the full picture of their sugars, not like some episodes if they're using test strips, for instance.
So how I would describe as type 1 and technology being perceived is where I come from, is oftentimes people don't even know what the devices are, so they just assume it's a nicotine patch. So when you do explain what it is, then the next reaction is oftentimes, oh, it's the bad type of diabetes. The challenges that we face, I would definitely say pumps are not available to every single person with type 1. We have really long waiting lists, and this is a problem that is getting better, but still a problem that we do have. Using a 10-year-old pump is kind of normal. And then to end on a positive note, I would say that definitely the positive is that we do have CGMs and flash glucose monitors available to every single person with type 1, which is such a wonderful thing.